My mom lifted her glass high, her smile sharp and glittering like the edge of a blade. "She's the daughter I'm proud of." The table exploded with applause. My sister leaned back in her chair, soaking it all in, smirk slicing across the table at me like it was meant to wound. That's when the waiter came over. He placed the leather folder in front of me with both hands, like it weighed too much for one. $2,500. All eyes swung my way. My mother's toast still lingered in the air, her words sour and heavy. I didn't move. I just let that bill sit there staring up at me. Finally, I stood, and silence spread like a blanket over the room. This wasn't new. For years they'd staged these dinners, their little rituals of humiliation. I was the reliable one, the steady paycheck, the good credit card, the one who always covered the balance. The card never maxed out because I always paid it down. My sister? She was the golden child, spoiled, reckless, always circling the edge of self-destruction. But to my mom, she was special. To my dad, she was fragile. To everyone else, she was the one worth celebrating. Me? I was background noise, useful only when the check hit the table. At first, I told myself that's what family was about, propping up the one who couldn't stand. I called it generosity. I believed one day they'd notice, maybe even appreciate the sacrifices. But the truth was uglier. They weren't leaning on me. They were standing on me. The pattern got clearer every year. Birthday cakes with my sister's name big and bold while mine looked scribbled on as an afterthought. Holidays where my gifts went unnoticed while hers were praised like treasures. Vacations where she never chipped in a dime, and yet I paid for flights, hotels, even the cocktails she spilled in the sand. And always when the check came, it slid my way. Always that same heavy silence. It wasn't thoughtless, it was deliberate. They wanted me to believe that paying was my only role. Slowly I stopped offering. I let the silence stretch, just to see. Nobody ever reached for the bill. That's when I knew I wasn't really their daughter. I was a wallet with a heartbeat. So I made a plan. The first step was easy. I booked the dinner myself, reserved the private room, ordered the wine, the courses, the champagne. I even called ahead to double-check the total. 1,500, round, sharp, enough to hurt, but not enough to seem suspicious. And before the night began, I took care of one last detail. I switched the card on the reservation. Not mine, hers, my sister's. The same sister now sipping wine, basking in praise, waiting for me to reach for my purse like always. When I stood, I didn't yell, didn't cause a scene. I picked up the bill, tapped it with my finger, and slid it across the table to her. "You've got this one," her smirk faltered. "What?" "You heard me," I said, calm, steady. "It's in your name." Confusion flashed across her face, then panic. She flipped the folder open, saw her own signature on the slip, signed when she'd strolled in late, and handed the waiter her card without thinking. Her mouth opened, but nothing came out. The silence grew heavy, pressing in on everyone. My mom's smile vanished. My dad looked away, suddenly restless. I leaned down close to my sister, my words for her alone. "Call it repayment," I whispered. "For every bill I've covered, for every time you smirked while I bled." The waiter came back with a pen. My sister's hands shook as she signed, jaw clenched, eyes burning holes through me. When it was over, I straightened my jacket and pushed my chair back. "Enjoy the rest of your night," I said softly. "I'm done." Then I walked out. The call started before I even reached my car. First my mom, her voice sharp and furious. "How could you humiliate her like that?" I let the words roll over me, silent. Then my dad, firm and commanding. "You've made your point. Come back and fix this." I hung up without saying a word. Finally my sister called, her voice cracked, desperate. "You can't do this to me. I don't have the money. You know I don't." I smiled into the cool night air. "Then maybe it's time you found out what that feels like." Click. For years I had carried their weight quietly, obediently. But that night, I set it back where it belonged. And when I picture her face under that chandelier, pale, hands shaking, pen trembling as she signed, I feel no guilt, just clarity. Because sometimes the sharpest revenge isn't fire or fury. It's silence. It's control. It's letting them choke on the bill they thought would be mine, and walking away free.